Hey guys, it's Sarah. I'm your host of What's on Your Plate, a podcast where we explore all of the heaviness, the abundance that are on our plates in our hearts, minds, and thoughts every day. I hope this is a place where you find things that resonate with you, where you find transformative thought, and where you feel safe and welcomed. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. Let's get started. I've been asked a lot recently what prompted me to start a podcast. The fast answer? Why not? The actual answer is, I'm not sure. Like most things I end up exploring, it was never something that was part of a big grand plan. Just like dentistry, becoming a running coach, opening an eatery, or becoming a cake artist, it just sort of came about. In March of 2020, like so many other small businesses, my kitchen closed. When I reopened May of that year, I had lost my staff. I continued on in a limited capacity for over a year, mostly by myself. It was a grueling, exhausting time, but I just wasn't ready to throw in the towel yet, so I carried on, unsure of what was next. During that time, when I worked mostly alone, I was living and working in a resistance of starting over. It just felt too much. And knowing what it had taken to keep my business going for the previous 3+ years, I just wasn't up for the reboot, quite honestly. So all that solo time and my subconscious knocking, I started listening to podcasts and participating in online workshops and immersions that focused on business and, more importantly, personal development. Eventually, it all led me to actual courses that relit a fire in me and helped me get back to remembering my why. I had lost my why. You know what I mean, right? The reason that you're actually doing something. By the beginning of 2021, I was losing my sense of purpose and felt like I was just spinning my wheels every day. My why has always been to be of service, and at my eatery, that service was specifically to feed people. I wanted to show people that plant-based vegan food was accessible, delicious, as well as sustainable. I felt like from at least the accessible angle, I was getting farther away from that all the time. With being a one-woman show, I just wasn't able to keep my door open. I had been in this type of mental space before, that place where you feel sort of lost in translation, sort of stuck in between. Having this familiar feeling helped me understand that I was evolving, but what my evolution would be, I did not yet know. I knew that I still wanted to connect with people, something that had really been lacking for me since no longer offering walk-in service. I knew I still wanted to be part of propelling the vegan movement forward. I knew I wanted to create a space where I could somehow connect the dots of the heavy things, the abundant things, and the nourishing things. I feel like they're actually all related to our minds, bodies, and spirit, and the inner workings of our systems are all part of a pulsating presence within us that is intentionally intertwined. I also knew I wanted to create a space for people to speak out loud, to talk about the things that aren't often discussed. I enjoy deep conversation, discussions that either challenge my thoughts, teach me something, or expand on my why. As someone who doesn't enjoy shooting the shit type of conversations, this was a great way for me to open a door to purposeful discussions. If I'm being really honest, which is one of my goals here, I needed a place for healthy healing and to be vulnerable. Whether one person ends up listening or 1 million people end up listening, this platform is allowing me to have an out loud conversation that I hope will challenge me, help me be brave and transparent, and to find healing from the things that still take up too much space in my head and heart. So that's the long answer, I guess. The short, why not, is true too, in that I reject the notion that you can't shift your path. Pivoting is necessary because if you just stay the same course in life, you aren't growing. And honestly, that's just not going to work for me. Life has a funny way of forcing you onto the path that is intended for you. Even though I knew my storefront was no longer serving me or anyone else for that matter, I was scared to let it go. A little over a year ago now, a group of investors purchased the building I held space in and promptly informed me they would not be renewing my lease. They had plans to take over my kitchen as well as the business adjacent to me for their own purposes. Truth be told, I was devastated. I felt like such a failure already, and now someone was telling me to leave. It was a really hard pill to swallow. In all honesty, I'm still dealing with that aftermath. While I know that it was time for a change, the way it happened was not on my own terms, and I continue to struggle with that. I know better things are in my future. Lelulos, which was the name of my storefront, and continues to be the name of my business, was a necessary part of my journey. But it was never meant to be where it stopped. I know that, and will continue to embrace the grief process of it all. As this podcast continues to develop, I'll share conversations with people making moves, sharing perspective, and creating change. I'm also looking forward to sharing ways to explore veganism and plant-based eating. That's a part of my life that I never plan to shift away from, so whether it's insight from other people I interview, classes or coaching I offer, or even recipe sharing, I will continue to look for ways to make plant-based lifestyles the normal for more people. Thank you for allowing me into your day. I know your time is precious and valuable, and I'm just so beyond appreciative that you've chosen to share some of it with me. My hope is that your time here every week sparks something in you that helps you show up for yourself, to do the things that scare you, and to be honest with yourself in living and speaking your truth. We are all a work in progress, and the only place to go is forward. I'll be seeing you next time, every Thursday, right here on What's on Your Plate. I hope that you share this conversation, the link to the podcast, and check the show notes for other ways to stay connected. The website link will take you to a place where you can join an email list to stay connected to all the newest podcast info and all things Lelulos. If what you've been hearing resonates and you want to show your support, please rate, review, and follow. I so appreciate your time.